When I started mentoring, I thought that it was my job to sell online courses, and I sold a lot of them. You know, we used to open up a course for like 24 hours and I'd make $15,000, and that was a huge win. The problem was that Thanks, guys. So first, I just became best friends with JL because he told you all to hire a mentor, and
you guys have to have a great business mentor. It's the thing.
Guess what I do for a living? I mentor gyms. There are two big takeaways that I want you to have from this this very participatory lecture today, okay? And I didn't even write them down because they're so important that I don't want you guys just copying slides. The first lesson that I want you to take is take action, okay? Education is awesome. I mean, I read Tim Ferriss's book, you know, it was really cool. But if you don't take action on that stuff, then it doesn't really matter, okay? The second one is perfect is the enemy of good. So we were just talking about my first book there, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But it's very important that you guys understand, like, you don't wait until conditions are perfect to make your move, okay? Don't wait until you've got the perfect blog post to publish it. Don't wait until you've got the perfect slideshow to get up and give a talk. Okay, I was editing mine while JL was talking because I was like, oh, hey, I can add to that. About 2005, I opened up Catalyst. It was a personal training facility specializing in sport conditioning for hockey players. 3 years later, I found CrossFit. I fell in love with it and decided if I opened a CrossFit gym, that all of my powerlifting buddies would come and train there. And that almost bankrupted me. How many people own a CrossFit gym here now? Yeah, that's cool. Okay. You know, I thought I'm going to make, this is going to be my retirement. After about 6 months of that, I found myself on this little park bench wondering, how the hell am I going to survive this? How are my kids going to go to college? How am I ever going to retire? A friend of mine happened to work at a local business incubator and said, we've got a local mentor here. He's going to work with 5 small business owners, and I can get you in. His price was $500 for the first hour. I did not have that money. I wrote the check anyway. It should have bounced. And I told myself, I'm going to justify this cost by writing down everything this guy tells me on don'tbuyads.com, and I'm going to share it for free. Okay? So 400 blog posts later, other gyms started inviting me to come and speak to them. The first seminar that I did was in Fort Lauderdale, 2012, I guess. And I knew that one of the other speakers was going to have a book. This guy was like the authority because he had this staff manual that he'd compiled, and he would bring him to all his seminars and he'd hand them out, okay? Ben Bergeron's the guy. And I thought, if I'm going to speak with Ben, I need to have a book. So I took the top 12 blog posts from Don't Buy Ads, and I printed them out, and I stapled them together, and they were pretty thick. And so I said, well, how am I going to haul 30 copies of this to Florida? It's going to be too heavy. I'm going to get stopped at the border and arrested. So then I said, well, maybe I can call like a Kinko's or something and get these things printed out. But I found the cheapest way was to publish them together into a book, and then just ship these copies of the books, which had like a hand-drawn cover. There was a guy with a brain, you know. And at the seminar, maybe 3 out of the 30 books got taken. But that's now the best-selling fitness business book of all time. There still aren't page numbers, okay? Perfect is the enemy of good. I've sold about 12,000 copies of that first one. And that's what launched Two Brain Business, which is a multi-million-dollar company. We have 342 gyms working with us from every continent on Earth. My last book is called Help First, which is basically the path of going from, hey, I just want to help people, to I want to be profitable enough to help people for 30 years. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is how do we make your staff happy and how to mentor them to have meaningful careers in fitness that will support your perfect day too. When we're thinking what will make my staff happier, what's the first thing that you think about? Money, yeah. How do I pay these guys more, right? God, how do I get my staff to $100,000, $200,000, $250,000 a year? And I do think about that. There are mentors on the Two Brain payroll who will make $400,000 this year. There are gyms in our practice who will net $1 million this year. Net, okay, not grossing where you net like dozens of dollars, taking home $1 million this year. The number one problem that I hear with gym owners that we talk to on the phone is I say, what are your metrics? And the first number they give me is how many clients they have. Okay? So if I bump into you guys in the hallway at lunchtime and I say, how are things going? And you say, I got 100 clients. Then you owe me a sandwich or something, okay? We have a gym that entered our program. They're in Manhattan. They had 1,100 clients, 2 locations, $3.4 million in gross revenue. What do you think the 2 owners took home every year? $30,000 each. Is that enough money to live in Manhattan? Could they make more driving an Uber in Manhattan and paying for a gym membership? Yeah. Basically what those guys are doing is paying way too much for a gym membership. This is the payment model that we teach. If you're not sure how to pay your staff, or if you're saying, I need to make more money before I can hire staff, start with this model on Thursday, all right? It's not perfect for every gym. I use it with most of my staff because they ask to be on this model. I use it with most of the mentors at Two Brain because they ask to be on this model. But these are very entrepreneurial people. I want you to start with this and then move to salary later if you need to. Let's say that you break down every dollar that comes into your gym into 9 equal parts, okay? The first 2 parts, 2 ninths, 22, 23%, should cover your fixed costs. This is your overhead. This is the rent. This is putting these bright lights on. This is the heat. This is your cell phone bill, okay? That should all fit to within 25% of your gross revenue. Any people exceeding 25% of their gross on overhead? Good, awesome. Usually 80% of the hands in the room go up when I say that. The next 3 ninths should be profit. That means this is what pays you, but this is also what buys you new barbells. This is the margin that keeps your gym going, okay? Maybe that margin makes you a millionaire, probably not in our industry unless you really want it to, but if you don't have that margin, you're gone. I used to work out in an amazing gym called Northern Lights. They would let me bring my clients in and do personal training with them for free. They charged $35 a month. Best gym in Ontario. They're gone. 10 years later, people walk up to me on the street and say, hey Chris, man, wasn't Northern Lights an awesome gym? Northern Lights was not profitable, and so they've lost the ability to fix lives. I don't want that to happen to any of you. Protect that profit margin. Another great book is Profit First, okay? So nobody's gonna ask me my top 3 books, but that's on there. Basically, I want you guys to be happy. I don't want you fighting with your wife about who bought the expensive cheese. Okay, that was literally a fight that I had with my wife before that park bench moment. I don't want you to be cutting back on your kids. I want your kids to have cool clothes on the first day of school. And that means being profitable. It doesn't mean serving 300 people, all right? Action is more important than education. When I started mentoring, I thought that it was my job to sell online courses. And I sold a lot of them. You know, we used to open up a course for like 24 hours and I'd make $15,000, and that was a huge win. The problem was that nobody took action on them. They didn't work. So when I stopped selling online courses, I was making a ton of money, but they weren't actually helping people. What you need is a balance of education and action, and that's what Two Brain is. That's it.